Diversity is an ever-present topic in today's media. Whether it's your video games, movies, TV shows, and other content, you're very likely to see people of different creeds and colors, especially so in recent years. Many industries have made incredible leaps in representing groups with little to no media presence, or whose past portrayals have been questionable. With the global popularity of some franchises, it's obvious that people from a broad range of different backgrounds will be consuming that media. And the fact that more people get to feel included is great. One such franchise is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and with Ms. Marvel having aired its final episode just a couple weeks ago, Phase 4 has been the MCU's most diverse phase yet, and that's something to be celebrated, right? Well, no, not exactly. Let's take a step back from Marvel. On the surface, diversity may seem like a simple thing to achieve. You have a story full of white men, just reboot it and replace them all with literally anything else. Disney's Little Mermaid, black. Johnny Storm, black. Aquaman, Hawaiian. It's genius. You just take your Caucasian character, do a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and congratulations. You've mastered inclusivity. As stupid as this sounds, this is actually something that's done very, very often. And sometimes it works, but most of the time, it doesn't. Race swapping is the absolute laziest way to diversify a cast of characters. Taking an existing character and altering little else besides the way that they look completely misses the point of diversity. Physical appearance is just one of many factors that give people their unique identity. They also have their own cultures, perspectives, and experiences. I don't care if the Slayer from Doom is white, black, or fucking purple. He's still not going to be relatable. id Software could announce tomorrow that for their next game, they're going to make Doom Guy look like Idris Elba. I wouldn't give two shits. Ripping and tearing through an onslaught of demons from hell is hardly what I would call the black experience. A character that was originally fair-skinned, effectively being given an alternate minority palette swap is nothing groundbreaking. It blows my mind when a minority actor is given the role of a white character and people gas up the film or showrunners for doing the bare minimum. Wouldn't it have been infinitely better if they had created an entirely new character who is a minority with their own backstory that better resonates with that demographic? Back in 2010, with The Amazing Spider-Man still in production, there was a bit of an online movement to cast actor Donald Glover for the role of Peter Parker.
Spider-Man, maybe he doesn't have to be white. Maybe he can be black or Hispanic or something like that. And then somebody put a big picture of me in the comments. It was like, Donald Glover can play Spider-Man. He's nerdy.
This, of course, never came to fruition, and Andrew Garfield got the role instead. But years later, Glover still managed to land a role in a Spider-Man film. Not as the titular character, but as Aaron Davis, uncle to Spider-Man. No, not that Spider-Man. This one.
Like, what's up, danger? Like, what's up, danger?
We still got our black Spider-Man, but he's not just Peter Parker, but black. Miles is his own character, yet is still undeniably Spider-Man. Both the Spider-Verse and Insomniac renditions of the character do an excellent job of giving Miles his own identity, while still maintaining all of the elements that make a great Spider-Man story. Much like Miles, Kamala Khan is a character that's derivative of an older existing superhero, Carol Danvers. I'll be comparing these two characters and talking about what Disney's latest Marvel series does right and what it does horribly wrong. I chose these two series because I have lifelong experience of, being a black man and also being Muslim, so I can relate to both. So, what's Ms. Marvel about? Marvel Studios' Ms. Marvel is an original series that introduces Kamala Khan, a Muslim. Oh no. We're not even a single sentence into the description, and Disney has already notified us that Kamala is in fact a Muslim American girl, which is a major selling point of the show, which is fine, but the fact that it's so front and center calls into question Marvel's intent with the series. Like, imagine if Spider-Verse had opened up with,
"My name is Miles Morales,
and I am a nigga." Before their race, religion, or gender, any good character should first be, a character. Of course, their background will define certain aspects of their life, but it shouldn't be the extent of their personality. The concept of show, don't tell is nothing new, and it really goes a long way when introducing you to a new character. In Spider-Verse, we first see Miles in his room drawing graffiti art and singing along to the hip-hop song Sunflower. The track is more than just background music, it's diegetic, meaning it exists in the context of the world so both Miles and the audience can hear the song. When Miles is about to leave for school, we see him say goodbye to his mother in Spanish, after which the song Familia by Puerto Rican artist Anuel AA starts playing. In the next shot, the camera pans up from the ground, showcasing the Nike Air Jordan 1s that Miles is wearing, a brand that I don't think I need to tell you how closely tied it is to the black community. We then see Miles greeting people in his neighborhood in both English and Spanish. He places those stickers we saw him making earlier around the streets before tripping on his Jordans, his headphones fall off, and the music stops. In just under 2 minutes, we've learned so much about Miles' personality and multi-ethnic heritage, and absolutely none of it had to be directly told to us. A lot of the same characterization is present in Insomniac's 2020 video game. He doesn't go around telling everybody, "I'm biracial." He doesn't have to. We can already see that. Although Ms. Marvel does successfully communicate some things about Kamala's identity visually, it still feels the need to constantly remind you of who, or rather what, she is. If you missed the 200 Captain Marvel posters in her room, don't worry, she'll be sure to tell you how much of a fangirl she is. Things like Kamala wearing a necklace of her name written in Arabic would hit so much harder if it wasn't literally spelled out to the audience after another character draws attention to it. That'd be like if one of the people who dapped up Miles stopped him and commented on his Jordans like,
"Hold on, let me take a picture of my son real quick, son. Hold on, B. Hold on, yeah. Look at the fucking drip. Yeah."
Rather than feeling like a superhero who just happens to be a Muslim Pakistani girl, Kamala and several other recent MCU characters end up feeling like little more than hollow self-inserts for whichever group they're meant to represent. Drawing attention to a character's diversity in this ham-fisted manner leads to incredibly unnatural lines of dialogue, such as,
And let's be honest, it's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who saved the world.
"Yo, deadass on God, B. It's not really the New York niggas who be saving the world and shit." In terms of accurately portraying Muslim Americans, I'd say the show actually does a great job. It presents a ton of scenarios unique to that demographic that me, and I'm sure countless other Muslims strongly related to. It's undoubtedly the strongest aspect of the show, and it was really enjoyable whenever I could point to my screen and go,
I understood that reference.
but beyond that, what else does Ms. Marvel offer? Yeah, that's about it. Like I said earlier, Kamala doesn't really have much going on besides Muslim Pakistani girl with superhero obsession. Her origin story is receiving a bangle in the mail from her grandmother, and her conflict is strict parents? I mean, even that isn't enough to hold her back, because after lying to them repeatedly, sneaking out and keeping secrets, all it takes is to show them that she has superpowers, and the mother that was so against Kamala putting on a skin-tight superhero suit gives her her very own skin-tight superhero suit.
You're not going to dress up like all those other girls in skimpy outfits. That is not you. This feels a bit more like you,
They cheer from the sidelines when their daughter is being barraged by bullets as if they're watching a football game. Which brings us to the villain. The primary antagonist isn't established until... Man, I watched the whole show and I still don't know. The clandestines are a group of beings from another world introduced in episode 3, but they get murked off by episode 5. Their leader Najma has a change of heart when Kamala tells her to stop doing bad things, and she's like,
"You're right."
Damn. Kamala should have had Naruto posters in her room instead, because that talk no jutsu is immaculate. The clandestines are then replaced by Generic Law Enforcement Agency 57, not to be confused with Generic Law Enforcement Agency 56 from WandaVision. And Bruno? We don't talk about Bruno. It's not unusual for side characters to be underdeveloped, but it genuinely feels like Bruno solely exists so Kamala can have her own guy in the chair. She has a question, he has an answer. And if he doesn't, he'll magically find one off screen. Why? Because he's the genius high school student who got into Caltech. Or, more accurately, because the plot demands convenient exposition. Bruno is also one of 3 love interests for Kamala, because one just wasn't enough for a 6-episode miniseries. The story is nothing to write home about. When I told a friend of mine that I was watching Ms. Marvel, he asked me how the show was, and I was nice enough to create this intricate diagram for him so he wouldn't mess up the watch order. If you are not the intended demographic for Ms. Marvel, there is absolutely nothing for you here, which is fine. Not everything has to appeal to everyone, but even I myself, as part of that demographic, believe that beyond all the hashtag relatable references, there's little substance to the story. But I can't deny the power that representing a minority group has. When I first saw Black Panther in theaters and heard my native tongue being spoken in a Hollywood film, I lost my shit. It was a surreal experience that I never in a million years would have imagined happening. But once the dust settled and the rose-tinted glasses came off, I just found myself wishing that the movie that scene was attached to had a better narrative. Being represented is one thing, being well represented is another. Setting the bar at just including XYZ group leads to garbage like this.
Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins, and their names are very similar to screen time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet that they don't see as derogatory, to take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Snowflake is non-binary and goes by they, them. Snowflake has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens.
Companies becoming more inclusive does not guarantee that it's in good faith. At the end of the day, like a drunk teenager on prom night, they just want to get into your pants, more specifically, your wallets. Money has always been the primary motivator for diversity with major corporations. That's not to say that good-intentioned individuals can't make terrible pieces of media. They certainly can, but more times than not, they don't give a shit about me or you. We're just another demographic to hit, a quota to be met. I couldn't help but laugh when I first saw the Eternals. This alien race created off-planet Earth have a black, Korean, Scottish, Pakistani, Chinese, British, young redheaded, and Mexican person among them. On top of that, Marvel was like, you mean to tell me we can knock out our first deaf and first gay superhero in the same shitty film? Yeah, let me get one of each. I'm sure both groups were very pleased to be seen in one of the worst performing and most critically panned films in the franchise. Giving these 10 diverse central characters meaningful arcs in the film's 150-minute runtime was never the goal. They're not characters, they're tokens who exist solely for the purpose of diversity. And that alone does not protect the movie from criticism.
No, please.
Let's have it.
You don't understand. This is all I have. I'm nothing without this.
Diversity.
If you're nothing without this,
Diversity.
then you shouldn't have it.
Marvel has never been the best when it comes to things like this, but no company illustrates the corporate lack of care for inclusivity better than Activision Blizzard. A few months ago, Blizzard gave us a look into their diversity space tool, a device that quantifies how diverse a character is based on things like ethnicity, ability, gender identity, and socioeconomic background. The character is then given a number rating on each of these things and placed on a radar chart, as if you're allocating stat points in a fucking RPG. Is your character a generic white male? Maybe he could use a little smidgen of gay, or a wee bit of a disability to even him out. Blizzard has completely gamified inclusivity, because you know there's no nuance to it. It's just something that you get down to a science and delegate to a computer program. A company that's actually been pretty good about their diversity in recent years is Riot Games. Their animated series Arcane was not only a compelling story with incredible art direction, it also brings to life some of the most well-written characters I've ever seen in animation. The cast is diverse, but it doesn't feel the need to hit you over the head with that. Even in the video game that the show is based on, characters' diversity is not something that's overstated. Man, modern media has really gone to shit if I'm praising League of Legends of all things. This is the same game where one of the black character's ultimate ability is literally just a fucking drive-by.
Shut the fuck up! Y'all don't deal with that.
People pushing for more diversity in media has always seemed paradoxical to me. Companies that are willing and want to represent you will do so of their own volition. Companies that you have to pressure into representing you are not the ones that you want representing you. No amount of public pressure can make money-hungry corporations reevaluate their priorities. If there's any form of diversity to push for, it should be in the workplace, which can serve as a catalyst to more inclusive media. Regardless of your skin color, ethnicity, or gender, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a phenomenal film. When I think of inclusivity, it's things like this that pop into my head, not shows that— wait a minute. Did she just punch a fucking hole to Pakistan? The writers couldn't think of a way for him to escape. So they just had her punch a magical hole in the ground, then cut to him 7,000 miles across the globe. What the f? Instead of just being content to look at the screen, see someone who looks like us and go, oh, he just like me for real. We should celebrate the works that actually go the extra mile to give us characters instead of caricatures. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, this video was made possible by me. Subscribe and follow your boy. I need to get my clout up.